Good morning, everybody. I'm out of work. The hurricane's coming, so we're going to do a quick little profile talking about the best 6 reasons you should run Pan, and it's how to get those winner cards. I just showed them to you on our thumbnail. I'm going to go over those, but let's talk about the amazing card herself. Now, you'll excuse me, it's not the best print here on this picture, but I'll read it for you. This Pan is amazing. She says when you play a battle card, it gets plus 5k. If after you give it 5k, it has enough power to be 20k or higher, the or higher does matter, you get to draw a card. That means you don't have to attack, which is super relevant in this format because it doesn't make your leader swing the only way to generate cards. The other part about this card is that it can awaken normally at 4 or less life, but it's got a special ability. And we're going to talk about that special ability in the rest of this video. She can awaken at 3 or more Z energy, which is almost always going to be turn 2, thanks to the ridiculous amount of resources she has. She untaps 1 and draws 1. Then on the back side, she also has the exact same ability. She also gains, though, the ability to draw a card when she attacks. And if that wasn't enough, she gets to power up a Z card once per turn. She's an insanely powerful leader. But mono red, probably not the answer, and we're going to talk about that right now with some of her tools. The biggest tool and number one reason you should run her, this bad boy right here. All of these arrival tricks are unbelievably more powerful in Pan. I'm going to move myself out of the way for a second here, because if you can't see this, you're missing out on the most important part. It's Hercule and Boo, okay? When this card is played, you draw a card, you can neg an opponent's battle card, and then you can bounce one of your cards to your hand at the end of turn. This is going to be an amazing ability. We also have the new SSB Vegeta. This gives us the ability to be on turn and have red-blue access to our energy. That means that if our opponent goes first, we can drop this bad boy, or even on turn 2 we could play this if we go first, and we don't have to worry about energy exhaust. The other part that makes this card so good is the permanent activates first when you play it, so you're going to go ahead and draw a card. Those cards weren't enough. We also have a new, effectively, 5k arrival card. It says that if your leader's Pan, which of course we are, you can play this card and draw a card if you've comboed a card that is red in the area. Now, it can also be red and blue. So this card is going to work with the next card we're going to talk about. But effectively, she's a draw 2. And frequently, what you're going to do on your turn 1 is just pass. And then you will just have 1 energy open. And then you will end up playing this card and putting a card in your Zenkai energy, which just gives you some board state. So you're never wasting your time. You, of course, know this card. I've talked about it in some other videos. It's an insane card. Probably the best reason why I'd recommend running her. It looks like not that much on the surface, but this card was so good, I had to make sure you got a giant blue background just to see it. Its name is Grade 8. It says, if your leader is Pan and you combo with this card when your opponent has 2 or more energy, at the end of the combo step, once it's in your drop, it then attempts to summon itself or play it. Then it has a second ability I'm going to talk about in a second. But the important part here is on your turn 1, if you go second, if you play a battle card and you attack with it, generally speaking, your opponent is then going to attack that battle card. And when they do, they're going to probably just put it at 15k because they want you to use a card from your hand. Well, you can then combo with this Great Ape, play the Great Ape, and then draw a card, effectively building your board state for nothing. What makes it even more crazy is he's got unique because they don't want you to play multiple. Well, that part makes sense. But what you then can do is combo away this Great Ape to add on to your Zenkai energy because you want him in there again, and then you can assemble another copy. He's not limit 1 per turn. He's just unique. So we can kind of abuse this resource along with cards like my personal favorite of this set. We've got SS4 Son Goku, Defender of Life, and SS4 Son Goku Senses Returned. Now, SS4 Son Goku Senses Returned is our primary turn 2 play. This card is 100% on the list of reasons you got to run Pan. For 1 energy, you get Deflect, and you get a 20k body after your leader ability. You get to Burst 2, which puts 2 cards in your drop. When you do that, you'll have this cool little ability here that says when this card attacks, you may place 1 mono red Saiyan with 5,000 power from your drop into your combo area with its skills negated. This is huge because we're trying to set up that turn 3 crazy turn where we're going to kill our opponent on 3. So this is fantastic. If that wasn't enough to excite you, it has a second ability. It says here, activate battle. When this card is in battle, draw a card, switch this to active mode, and it powers up for the turn. Now, if you're like me and an aggressive player, that means on turn 2 we can summon him for an energy and draw a card. Hopefully putting 2 5Ks in the drop. And then we can attack with the card. If the attack is not negated, we get to combo and untap it to attack again. In theory, that's going to give us 2 cards into our Zenkai energy to set up that amazing turn 3 where we're going to summon this bad boy. The second your opponent's at 4 life, we like to summon this guy. That's because no matter what you do, he's going to come into play and have your opponent take a damage. This card is absolutely insane. What makes it even better was that previous card I told you about, that is pan only, says that if that card is underneath this card, which it summons itself, you get to gain the ability of an extra 5k, killing a negative 25k, and you can, when you have 4 or more energy, if you didn't kill your opponent on 3, you can give this card dual attack. Now, if you keep track of all the modifiers that I've talked about, and it's a little bit hard to do in this kind of a presentation, but you see it in my other videos, the leader ability is going to give this a 5k. That Zenkai card I told you about is going to also give it a 5k. Then the leader has a second ability that says choose a 2-drop and power it up. Well, we're going to choose this card right here. So now this card is going to be a 35k that kills a battle card with 25k or less when it attacks, and guaranteed on summon, your opponent will take 1 damage if they're at 4 or more life. This is the reason we're going to run Pan at Nationals, unless they make something even more insane. I'm talking it would have to be super crazy for me to get off this deck. Where we're talking, I don't even know. It would have to be something Goku, and it would have to just be some crazy flavor that I couldn't stop. Because this is a guaranteed bomb on my turn 3. If I need to, could even be turn 2. If my opponent's being aggressive or something, and I need to just go in for the kill. Having a guaranteed bomb for 2 energy, best thing we've ever gotten. Which brings us to the next card, and the reason why we want to run red-blue. The number 1 card in red-blue, our super combo. Now, generally speaking, in this game, we don't want to use super combos early. That's always been the way it's been. We want to take our time, slowly keep our super combos, and then in 1 turn, play several super combos. Until Zenkai came out. Zenkai changed the entire format. Why? Because we want to get rid of cards from our hand to activate our Zenkai energy for those big bombs. So that means on your turn 1, it's not a bad idea to charge a red-blue. Then, have your opponent attack you, and then just blow your Beerus super combo to arrive like a Hercule. Well, you'll draw 2 cards, which will replace what you've spent. You'll advance your board state, and you get to put this card into the Zenkai zone. You're not going to always do that, though, but it also gives you the option that if your opponent is giving you too much aggro or too much aggression, you have an ability to just chill out and relax. So that's a huge asset to have. But this is the real reason, and this is what can decide, make or break your Nationals deck. The number 1 card in the game, in my opinion, for brokenness that costs 1. If you can think of another card that does it, that costs 1 that you think is as broken or is equal to Senzu Bean, I'd love to hear it, because this card is absolutely snapped. And the best part about it is you can run 4. So you're going to try to get as many copies of this for your kill turn, which is kill 3. If you have all 3 or 4 copies of Senzu Bean on your turn 3 or 4 and your opponent's on 2 energy, it's going to be almost impossible for most decks to stop the aggression that Pan can handle. So primarily, what we're going to do now is just build a deck that can help us achieve these beautiful winner cards. Now, we don't know for sure, but I'm going to guess, based on the fact that they say winner this time and they're not just gold, I'm going to take these as a rule. So far, Bandai's never reprinted the cards with winner. They've been really good about it as far as I know. There might be a few examples, but when they say winner, Bandai's been very respectful of that. If it's a gold card, not so much. So I'm thinking these could be a 1 season, 1 and done. And that's my hope, because we get Trunks, we get Goten, King Cold, and of course, beautiful Toa with the big boy himself, Great Ape Son Goku. And that's the card I really want. I want to win one of these events to grade a grade 8 Son Goku, because I'm going to guess that is $1,000 to $2,000 card with a gem mint. You put that on a pristine, probably a $3,000 or $4,000 card. You get a black label, you got yourself a car. It is a beautiful card, and it's going to be super low population. Hopefully this list will help get you there, and if it does, give me a follow.